What's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Thursday Night with Pineapple. I am your host, Terrence Ramses, Mr. Pineapple. Welcome to the Royal Blossom Podcast, or known as Thursday Night with Pineapple. Listen, it's been a crazy week. When I say it's been a crazy week, man, how about this weather? This weather been cool during the day. Then it's been getting between 2 and 5 o'clock. It's been getting like almost 100 degrees for the last couple of weeks. We've been getting some crazy, crazy weather out here in Tampa, Florida. But besides that, everything is good. I hope got your mind, heart, spirit open for this information that you're going to receive tonight. I'm excited to bring this phenomenal guest on. But before we get started, I want to go ahead and give you some brand updates and news. And we're going to go ahead. First of all, we're going to go ahead. I ain't been telling y'all to go listen. Y'all got to go ahead. Royal Blossom Company. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, IG, TikTok, Royal Blossom Company. Same thing with Thursday Night with Pineapple, all on all social media platforms. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube page. We're trying to grow our brand, also growing the clothing brand as well. So we're gonna go ahead and put the welcome up as well. Boom. Welcome to the Royal Blossom Podcast. But I'm gonna show you a clip of some specials that
Feeling
we're
the
doing
heat?
as well.
Why not look just as hot? Fresh, breezy, and built for island life. Our tank tops got you covered, or almost. Grab yours now before they're gone. Limited stock, mad deals. This is your chance to level up your style. Cool looks, hotter prices. Don't wait. Shop now today.
Listen, y'all need to go ahead and go to the website. Get your orders in. We doing pre-orders for those tank tops. Okay, so we got 6 tank tops that's for pre-order, right? What you saw mainly in there was the Caribbean-based rhythm, and you saw the electric lemonade. Okay, you saw those two specific tank tops. So we have 3 for the men, 3 for the women. So the women is the Caribbean-based rhythm, which is a razorback. Then you have the electric lemonade or the pink lemonade, and then you have the blooming lavender rose. Okay, so we're gonna have those special promotions. So I'm selling those two specifically as twins. So each tank top is $30. Okay, these tank top is $30. So we're gonna knock off $5 off for your purchase. I'm gonna go ahead and extend the promo tonight for that. Okay, so you'll get the blooming lavender rose and the electric lemonade, and the Caribbean-based rhythm is not a part of that suite since it's the most popular one. The same thing with the fellas. So you got the Caribbean-based rhythm, the Dragon Coolada, which is the red, black, and white one, and also you got the Ocean Blue Sea. Because I keep changing the name up, but sometimes I confuse myself because I have so many extravagant names for my items. So I'm gonna go over here and show it to you too, so you'll see it from the QR code perspective. So here's the Caribbean-based rhythm. You can scan this code; it'll take you right to the website. It'll take you right to the specific product itself. Here's the electric lemonade. Okay. Also, here is the lavender and blooming rose. I know it looks a little weird because I only got the artwork for that one, but I actually have the ones that actually have the tank tops sitting right over here. And then we have the Dragon Coolada. This is the one that I was telling you about. So you'll get this one in the ocean blue for the 2 for $55. I know it's hot, so I'm gonna try to get as many tank tops in your hand as possible. So ocean blue sea or oasis, either or. So I'm gonna show you another promo that I did about a month and a half ago when I went to Top Coat. Let me show you this one. This is Pineapple here at Top Coat. Out here doing some amazing things, fellowshipping with the brothers. However, I want to talk to you briefly about this amazing polo shirt that I have. Working on some new things, some casual wear, some golf wear. As you can see, red, black, red Spanish, red pineapple. golfer. As you see, this shirt is going to make you stay focused with purpose, with mission, and vision.
Oh, he did that. It's the shirt.
Pre-order yours today. www.royalblossomcommunity.co. Out. Yeah, so that's that's one of my newest tank tops that I not tank tops. One of our newest golf polos that we're doing pre-orders for as well. This is planning on coming out sometime the mid-June area. I mean it's an amazing fabric. It's lightweight. I mean you can use that as at golf courses, business meetings. You can do it as a casual date night. Um, just different things in the profession. We just expanding our different inventory and expanding our reach towards our different target audiences as well. So if you're on that LinkedIn level or trying to reach that LinkedIn level, we definitely have that shirt on pre-order right now. $59.99 for that shirt is pre-order. I know it's gonna go up a little bit once it gets here. Okay, so we also have another variant of those golf polos. So we got the Sweet Cayenne by V Ray, and I dedicated that one after a legendary jazz singer. She's about almost 100, if not 100 years old, and she does some amazing things for our community. And you can just go ahead and pre-order this as well, and it's gonna feel good on your skin. Go to the website, you'll read a little bit more about me, the vision of the brand, and I gotta tell you about the vision of the brand. So the mission is to restore, build, create, to restore all our wealth and resources back into our communities, to build up our youth and children that are coming behind us, to create a unique commonwealth of like-minded entrepreneurs to put them back in their God-given purpose and talents. And our brand values is to be fun, spirited, and passionate about everything that you do. You want to make sure that everybody's in purpose. Also, I launched my fashion label, my private label consultant agency called Fashion Loft Silk Pay. So what we do with this consulting agency, so I can privately have the ability to make custom garments for you. Meaning that if you want jogger sets, shorts, shirts, skirts, shirts, hats, anything that you want, anything that you could put on your body, I can design it for you. Our private label for it, it'll be your brand, or it could be of a certain amount of work shirts, it can be art shirts, it can be whatever you want to do. So I offer different branding services, brand identity, one-on-one coaching, and I also offer logo design. So inbox me for details or email me at pineapple@rightbrand.net. So because our website is going to be coming up pretty soon, and also we're going to have different ways where you can book services as well ahead of time. And we just wanted to get that information to you. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. I know if you go to my Facebook, you'll see it on my post. So you'll follow me at Royal Rasta Pineapple. You'll see it right now on my timeline, Fashion Loft Silk Pay. So I came up with the concept of Fashion Loft Silk Pay by combining two fabrics, the fabric of silk and a fabric of silk, Crpto. So basically, there are two different luxury fabrics, and I decided to take each word, the best parts of each word, and just consolidate them to come up with Silk Pay. So we want to guide you from the east, the west, to the north, to the south. So wherever your vision takes you, we're here to guide you, take you to those places, and take you up to the mountain to wherever you go. So we're here to show you the ins and outs of fashion, what to do, what not to do, how to build a brand quick, fast, in a hurry, from learning from my mistakes and what I've learned over the years, and just share my knowledge with you so you can get to the next level. If you decided to become a fashion designer, or you just want a 1 or 2 time deal, we do have that. We offer those services as well. So without further ado, so we're going to go ahead and get into the nuts and bolts of this podcast. And I've had, like I said before, on my last podcast, I had the pleasure of meeting this phenomenal gentleman about 6 years ago. I was at the roughest point in my life, man, and needed, to get back on my feet. You need to get a job. I had just lost everything, and he gave me a chance and showed me some things about audio visual, being an audio visual technician, how to put myself in a position to build some new skill sets during the pandemic and prior to pre-pandemic. And I've just been blessed to learn so many different things from this gentleman over the years. And I'm glad that I was able to connect with him, and he was a big part of my journey of me putting my whole life back together. He was one of the guys that saw me at one of my worst seasons in my life, and I appreciate everything he's done. And he's expanded his business, so he's also a business owner, a family man, and he has a lot of knowledge about the audio visual lighting, all that in this industry. But this conversation, we're going to be doing a deep dive into some more investments about some crypto and a few other things. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on the CEO of Extreme Visions, Mr. Jason Dansby. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing, man?
I'm great, man. I can't complain.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on, man. I heard you, briefly touch on just how we met and everything, and that that touched my heart, man, to know that that I was able to be a light, at that time in your life, man, and provide some expertise and kind of give you a path to get on, man. That's always my goal and my vision to reach out and help people with this, with my knowledge, with my guidance, leadership. So man, so much love, bro. Much love. That touched my heart to know I was able to be that for you, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us your background. Give us a little bit of overview of what you do in the audio visual tech field, and tell us a little bit about your business, and tell us about some of the investments that you have acquired over the years.
Sure. So I've been in the audio visual industry for about 15 years. I started as a general tech. Actually started my career in Little Rock, Arkansas. I was working for a company then, and I happened to get a transfer, and like one of the only positions they had open was in Sarasota, Florida. So in 2013, I branched out and transferred and moved to Braden, Florida, and I was working as a general tech at a Ritz Carlton in Sarasota, Florida. And yeah, man, I just been on the path ever since. And I've been everything from a general tech to a director of my own property, to a production supervisor of a very large operation and very large venue, as we know, the Tampa Convention Center. So yeah, 15-year journey, man. That I've been blessed to be on, and it's been some bumps in the road, some ups, some downs. But I've managed to just keep pushing, one foot in front of the other, and just kind of staying positive and looking forward to some success. And I actually branched out and started my own business as well, also in the audiovisual production industry, known as Extreme Visions LLC, and I am the operator and CEO and owner. And so I've been doing that since 2019. And I got a few clients, clientele built up now. I got one client that I've been working with since 2019, still working with that client to this day. Got a couple seasonal clients. So yeah, man, just been staying on the path and trying to stay busy, and actually nowadays trying to put more into my personal business with Extreme Visions.
Okay, when did you start Extreme Visions, and what services do you offer?
So I started in 2019, and I offer a range of services in audio, video, and lighting. So if you need like sound systems for like birthday parties, wedding ceremonies, bar mitzvahs, just whatever your thing is or your event is, if you need any type of audio, lighting, or video elements, I'm able to provide those services for you. as well as a general tech services, because I have a lot of technical experience, troubleshooting equipment, setting up. That's probably my strongest element of what I do is me myself, and the just the physical setup and troubleshooting, and just knowing how all that functions and works together.
Okay, and do you have any events coming up, or did you have any past events that just happened?
Yeah, I actually did an event this past weekend with my main client. Actually, my first client that gave Extreme Visions a shot back in 2019. Vigilant MMA. Brandon is the CEO and owner of Vigilant MMA, and he reached out to me back in 2019. Just wanted to, just a small segment of services, and over the years, he's gotten bigger and better. I've gotten bigger and better with him, and so we just did a big show. He's a fight promoter, so he puts on these MMA, kickboxing, boxing, um, jujitsu. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget any element of the fighting events he puts on. But yeah, MMA, kickboxing, boxing, jujitsu. He puts on these shows and gets all these young amateur, fighters out, man, that's just looking for their shot in the limelight, and he gives them that. He puts them on that stage. And so I'm basically like his production manager. I handle every element of his show, from audio to video to lighting as well. And we just did a show this past weekend out at the OCC restaurant, bar, and grill. The OCC is located out in Clearwater. If you haven't been there, I mean, look it up. It's a great venue, a nice restaurant. There's a restaurant section inside where you can go in and sit down and eat and enjoy food, and there's a nice bar there where you can get some drinks. And then on the outside element of it is just it's a big open area with some seating, also a bar outside, but it's got this big nice stage with a big LED wall behind. It's got the audio rig out there. It's just a really nice place to put on an event like that. And so we just did one of those this past Saturday, and it was a hit, man. It was really great. Had a lot of great fights, a lot of action-packed fights, man. That they had there. So yeah, that was my most recent event. And I also got um other stuff coming up with him this summer through the fall. I actually got his date calendar. So like June, I think there's two in June. Yeah. June 7th, we're in Fort Myers. June 14th, we're out in Clearwater at a venue. And then for the fall in August, we're in Fort Myers. And then that's on the 16th of August. And then on the 30th of August, we are in Clearwater, back at the OCC. At the OCC in Clearwater on the 30th. If you don't know what the OCC Bar and Grill is, just look it up. You can find it on Google. Just Google OCC Bar and Grill. It'll pop right up for you. You can see what that's all about. But we'll be there August 30th. And then the winter, October 4th, we're back in Clearwater, back at OCC. And then October the 11th, we're in Fort Myers. November the 22nd, we're in Fort Myers, and then back in Clearwater December 13th. So a packed schedule for the rest of the year, going into summer, into fall with Brandon and Vigilant MMA.
Yeah, I'm looking at the place now. It looks pretty tight.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, real fun place, man. Real fun place.
Actually, you gave us a lot of dates, so he gonna be out there. So you want to go see him? Go see some fights, man. You want to go
Yep.
look
And then
him up.
if you want to reach out to me and send me a friend request, I always post. I try to post like the dates, weeks or months prior to where we're gonna be and what we're doing. So just reach out to me, Jason Dansby, on Facebook, and send me a friend request. You can keep up with with me and Vigilant MMA and just what we're doing and everything. So
Okay. Do you have a website or anything where people can book or submit inquiries or anything? Because I
Yeah, I
yeah.
do. I have a site on Face. I have a Facebook page for Extreme Visions. It's Extreme Visions LLC. So you can look that up. Please go like and follow. Send me a direct message if you got an event coming up. We can definitely talk and see how we can get you locked in with some services. So yeah, just Extreme Visions LLC on Facebook.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good, man. So yeah, man, I know this conversation, no, last conversation we talked about a lot of the audio visual and the lighting and the stuff that we've done at the convention center, at the Marriott and a few other places. And it was so funny because we was talking about, having, technical difficulties, switching out items and things like that. And that's what exactly what happened on this live last time. I'm talking
Sure.
about we had all kinds of technical difficulties with the sound, the internet. So this, unfortunately, with this, we couldn't switch it out. But this time, I made sure I updated everything. The iPad is updated. We got a better iPad Pro. We
Nice,
got new
nice.
internet. We got a new AT&T internet. We got the
Gotta have
software
that.
update.
Gotta have that.
Yep, I got microphone, got a few different things. So just made this thing a lot easier. So far, so good. We ain't had no interruptions, which is good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
And
it's been great, man, and it's good to know that you're open minded. You've been open minded to expanding the elements of your production because you notice when you go into especially live production, you have to do that. You got to add these elements that's going to make everything run and work smoothly. So shout out to you, man, for doing that.
I appreciate that, man. I learned from you. I learned a lot of my, a lot of my skill sets from you too. By watching you, going through the motions and switching out the boards, the Mackies, the Yamahas, and just doing little things, with the tech, just know how to troubleshoot and things like that. Just it be little simple fixes. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your investments. Tell us about what you're into on your extra side business. Let's talk about your crypto. You say you in crypto and blockchain. So tell us a little bit of your knowledge and what's your passion in that. What made you get into that arena of cryptocurrency?
Well, yeah. So that's kind of what I do. As kind of a side hustle or a long term investment, shall I say? I got into cryptocurrency back in 2020. I had a friend of mine. It's funny because I was actually in the barbershop, and a lot of these conversations, a lot of these things come up that we probably have never thought about, or probably we've heard about it but never really been interested in. And these things come up in the barbershop, and we tend to kind of take the idea and kind of dig into it a little bit. And so that's kind of the history of how I found out about cryptocurrency. Is my buddy Jamie Jacobson, shout out to him. He first told me about the crypto in the market, but he mentioned this one specific asset within the market called XRP. And
Yep.
I didn't before then. I had heard about cryptocurrency, and I kind of thought about it like everybody else. I'm like, oh man, it's just a fad or a trend or like some internet money or something. I don't, you know, I wasn't really open minded to it. Had never researched it or looked into it or anything. Um, and I kind of, teetered on the idea of it, of just looking into it and researching it when he told me about it. And he's in the barbershop and he's cutting my hair and he's like, man, he's like, are you interested in an investment that could probably make you really wealthy in the future? And I'm just like, oh, okay, what is it? And he's like, man, this crypto, this asset called XRP. So, he started running it down to me and telling me about it. And I left the barbershop that day, with the thought and with the idea. But for I'd say about 2 months, about 2 or 3 months, I didn't um just didn't put any interest or any like time towards it. And then one day I was like, man, you know what? Let me just look into this thing and just see, see what it's about. And man, I will say today I feel way different and way more convinced than I was then before I even knew of cryptocurrency. Because when I started looking to this asset called XRP, I quickly started to realize that this was going to be something that was not only going to make a lot of people wealthy in the future, but it's also going to be a vital asset and a vital financial tool in the global financial system. And so ever since I started researching it and I figured that out, and I've just become just kind of obsessed. Like, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I've just been researching and digging and finding out as much information as possible. I literally like this part of my life now. I don't think I go a day now without watching a video or researching something or even looking at my phone, checking the market. I don't think I even go a day now without doing any of that stuff. And so I've just become just like real, just um, passionate because I'm passionate about building wealth for my family moving forward. And I think it's something that a lot of people really don't, especially when you're young, um, and really young to middle aged people too. People around our age, I'd say 25 to 50, um, don't really think about the future of finances. They think about the now and then tomorrow, maybe a few months from now. But I it took me to like find this to realize that I need to start looking to the future and building wealth for my family. And so that's why I'm real passionate about it. Because I've learned that this market, cryptocurrency, a lot of people, and let me tell you, a lot of people think that cryptocurrency is a trend or it's just a fad and it's something that's just here now. It's a hot topic. Then 5, 10 years from now, it's going to go away. I'm here to tell all of you that ain't true. It's here to stay. And the reason I say that is because um, come to find out in my research that our government, the U.S. government, along with world governments, um, have this plan to use crypto assets as financial tools and liquidity to kind of clean up the financial mess that they've created just from money printing from for the last all the last decades, and just all the debt and all the inflation they've created. They've had this plan for like the past 20 or 30 years. And I also found out that when JP Morgan, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, all these uh, major banks that pretty much run the financial sector, Wall Street pretty much run things. They finance a lot of the government. A lot of people don't know this. I didn't know this stuff until I start digging around with crypto and digging around Wall Street and investments and stock market and banks. And I didn't know any of this starts till I started taking a deep dive. But these big incumbent banks actually fund our government. They have a lot of control over our media networks, a lot of control over our media networks and what narratives are put out there. They really control the narratives with the media. And back in 2017, 2018, crypto was experiencing this spike. People were kind of finding out about it and getting excited about it and getting interested, and the market started to kind of teeter up. I think Bitcoin hit 20,000 or something in 2017. I think that was like the first like Bitcoin spike. Um, but at that time, these banks were telling us the narrative they were putting out was not to invest in crypto, um, not to buy it. They were telling us that it's used for black market sales. They were telling us that it's used for illegal activities on the internet, and things like that. And come to find out that they were holding a lot of these crypto assets on their own balance sheets. So which means while they were telling us to stay away from it, it's bad news, don't go near it. They were buying it. And this is the game. I've also learned, everything that I'm speaking of here on this topic, a lot of it is not stuff that I've just made up or stuff that these conceptions that I've came up with from my own thinking. This is stuff that I've learned through research, right? So um, they Wall Street and these incumbent banks, this is the game that they play with average working people to prevent wealth. They've been playing this game for many, many, many years, for decades, probably since the colonial times and since the industrial booms of like oil and railroading and this is the type of game they play. They tell us that this thing isn't going to be worth anything and we shouldn't buy it and we shouldn't own it, and then the whole time they're buying it, they're investing in it, they're building it, they're creating it and becoming wealthy and creating these monopolies around it. And so yeah, man, ever since I found out those elements of this whole thing, ever since I found out that, ever since I realized that the incumbent banks are stockpiling it, I'm like, okay, this is something I need to own. Because if they're telling us to stay away from it, telling us not to buy it and telling us it's bad, and then they're turning around and buying it secretly, it's gonna be worth a massive amounts of value. So yeah, man. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's how I learned about cryptocurrency back in 2020. I've been doing research and I've been accumulating and investing ever since. And XRP is my biggest holding. XRP is the only asset in the market that has regulational clarity from the government and from the SEC. Um, XRP is the cheapest, fastest, and most energy efficient asset in the market. Ripple, the company, is a behemoth. They just defeated the SEC in a massive lawsuit. Lawsuit went like almost 5 years. It just ended here a few months ago, officially, and that was scary, because here I am, and the lawsuit was actually lawsuit took effect in 2020, like a few months after I started accumulating and buying this stuff, right? So you can imagine how scary that was for me and how much faith I had to have moving forward in this asset, in this company, how much faith I had to have to stay strong and continue in it and keep striving. But the lawsuit, man, it went about 4 years, about 4 years from 2020, and it just ended officially a few months ago. And ever since then, in the market, the market is volatile. And let me just add, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. You invest at your own risk. So, if you decide to look into crypto, decide to make an investment, don't try to sue me and say I told you to go buy this because you invest at your own risk. It is risky. It's very volatile. I will tell you that. It's an emotional roller coaster. The market goes up, goes down. It could be up 20% today, and it could be down 50% tomorrow. That's just the way the market kind of fluctuates now. And it fluctuates like that now because basically it's still kind of the wild, wild west, and meaning there hasn't been clear regulations set in place for these assets, which means the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, has not yet put in a framework that basically says what's legal, what's not, what's a commodity, what's not, is this asset a commodity? Is this asset a, legal tender? They haven't put in a framework yet that's solid to basically support the market. So the market right now is very early, though. It's still in its very immature stages. This market right now, that's why I say it's, if you've heard about it, and you've been kind of teetering on the idea of investing, what I would say first is do your research. That's the first thing. Do your research, and then just know that, when you begin to invest and go on this journey, you're very early. We're very, very early. If you can imagine back in the Google days, in the internet boom, and that whole thing, there was a lot of people that were in that early. That got in it early. A lot of companies. Mark Cuban, one of them. I don't know if you're familiar with the Dallas Mavericks owner, Mark Cuban, billionaire. He sold his company, which was like a radio tech company, and he sold that company on the basis of the internet, and that you could watch games live over the internet before you could even do it. He sold an idea for billions of dollars, is basically what he did. But then you see what happened, right? He apparently knew that the internet was a thing of value. He knew then, and he knew that this idea that he had created eventually would intertwine with the internet, and it'd be a massive boom. He knew that then, and he just sold the idea. So looking at cryptocurrency, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. The internet was the internet of information. Cryptocurrency is the internet of value. So you can imagine internet of information, big boom, major boom, with the internet, with Google, and all the numerous of internet companies that took flight during that time. This is like the same thing. This actually, the internet of value with cryptocurrency is going to have a lot more value. It's going to be the internet boom on steroids, pretty much. And so it's best to get in early. It's best to be in now, because these prices of these assets are nowhere near where they will end up on what we call price discovery. The only one that has reached somewhat of price discovery is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's trading at, I think I saw today, I think it's trading around 97,000. I've seen it as low as 3,000 back in 2020 during COVID, what they call the COVID crash, when everything crashed. Stock market crashed, crypto crashed, everything crashed. Everything was down to like the bare minimum, bottom of the barrel type prices. That's when Bitcoin was like $3,000. And when I looked at the market, when I got this idea from Jamie, my buddy, in the barbershop that day cutting my hair, I waited 2 or 3 months, lingered with the idea, finally decided one day to just take a peek and just, kind of see what it was about. The first thing I noticed about the market was that there was 2 assets that were leading the market: Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin was like 3 grand. Ethereum, I think, was around $400, maybe 100 or 2, something like that. But I thought to myself, looking at those assets, I thought to myself, why are these 2 assets the only ones that's kind of gained some value, and then the rest of these are like, sub a dollar, under $10, under $5. A lot of them was like bottom of the barrel, under a dollar. Like, so I started to look at that, and that kind of sent up a red flag to me. And so as I started poking around, as I started digging more on XRP and what it was and the market and just cryptocurrency as a whole, I started to see there was some shady stuff going on. Apparently, the SEC and some officials back in 2017, 2018, had this plan to build a monopoly only around Bitcoin and Ethereum. for whatever reason. There was a lot of entities involved, but mainly it was a couple officials from the SEC. One official, his name is Bill Hinman. He actually was mentioned in the Ripple lawsuit during the lawsuit while that was going on. But he gave a speech at a Yahoo conference, that went out, and they knew what they were doing because this Yahoo, you know how big Yahoo is,
Yep.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
So he decided to go up on a stage, on a podium at a Yahoo conference, and basically say that Bitcoin and Ethereum were commodities, and they were the rising thing, and they were going to be this valuable asset moving forward. Well, come to find out, that wasn't even an official statement from the SEC. He went up there and basically gave his own thoughts and opinions on what those two assets were. Basically, boosting the market. He did that to boost the market of Ethereum, boost the value of Bitcoin. And I don't know if you know about the legal terms or the legal uh, surroundings around that, but that's called insider trading, or that's called,
Mm-hmm.
when you putting out something, or you got an idea, or you make a move based on something that you found out behind closed doors, or your own personal thoughts, or something you're invested in, and then you serve as an SEC official for the United States Security and Exchange Commission, and you go out and make a statement like that to boost the value of an asset that, come to find out, that your law firm invest in. So he had interest in both. He had financial interest in both. Now, here's the kicker. Neither one are good technology. Neither Bitcoin or Ethereum are great technology. Bitcoin is too slow. It uses way too much energy. You cannot use it for transfer of money, because it's way too slow, and it costs too much to send a transaction. Ethereum is kind of the same thing. Ethereum uses what we call gas fees. So every time you buy Ethereum, or every time you trade it or exchange it, or every time let's say you want to swap it or convert it to a new asset, you have this charge called a gas fee. A lot of the times that gas fee will actually exceed the amount of Ethereum that you own. So you pay all this money, you pay, X amount of dollars in gas fees before you even can cash the thing out, or before you can even convert it, or before you can do anything with it. You pay all these gas fees. And so neither one are great technology. And I realized that too, as well, as I was researching and kind of poking around, and I was comparing functionality with different assets. What does this asset do? Why is it important? Why is it going to bring value versus this asset? What does it do? How is it going to bring value? What's the functionality of it? So I started comparing a lot of these assets to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and a lot of what I found out was a lot of the assets that were in cheaper value in the market in that time, um, they were way more superior in functionality and technology than Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that showed me right there that Bitcoin and Ethereum was just, it was basically,
Distractions.
it was distractions. Yep, Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency that was put out in the market, and the creator of Bitcoin, they say, is this Japanese guy called Satoshi Nakamoto. That was a red flag too, because as I started to dig into that, I found out that supposedly back in 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, And it's just code. It's just lines of code in programming. So he created this code, called it Bitcoin. It was, deemed a cryptocurrency or digital asset, digital token called Bitcoin. He put it out there in the free market, and then he just disappeared. And this is what the government is. This is what our government is telling us. Now here it is, years later. They can't find this dude with all the. And this is what I think is very, very strange and very comical. With all the law enforcement agencies we have, if you think about the FBI, U.S. Marshals, the Army, CIA, they can't find this guy, supposedly. And so that's what they're telling us, is that they don't know who created it. Well, you have all these companies, all these major companies that are, and this is how I think they didn't really think this through. They didn't think this through properly, because now you got all these companies, major companies, that are putting billions and billions of dollars into Bitcoin. Now, you, Terrence, you having the common sense that you have, do you think a company that has billions, is worth billions, that has these shareholders and has this committee, this financial committee they got to answer to, and all these shareholders and everything riding, all these billions of dollars riding on this company, do you actually think, with your common sense and knowledge, that that company is going to buy an asset and invest all that money into something and they don't even know who created it? No, no, they're not. And come to find out, our own government owns a lot of Bitcoin. They own a lot of Bitcoin as well. So they own the asset that this Chinese guy created, and they don't know where he is. They don't. This is what they're telling the public. So that's kind of the first couple red flags that I noticed about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's what kind of latched me on to XRP, and I started to do a deep dive on XRP, and I started to find out that that Ripple as a company. The more I looked around, the more I researched, the more I poked, I started to find Ripple under every financial rock that I looked under. Um, Partnerships with banks, partnerships with financial institutions, partnerships with transaction companies. They have over 300, and that number's probably grew now, but this was back in, kind of 2020, 21. But back then they even had over 300 plus bank and financial institution partnerships. Not to mention, they just fought the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in a 4-year lawsuit and spent $200 million, and they're still standing. They're still in good financial standing. That shows me a company that is financially stable, a company that has technology, that has these financial tools that XRP can be, because XRP can be used for multiple financial tools. So they have these tools, behind the company, that are solid and that tend to stay around and solve a big problem in the world, not just the U.S. financial system, but in the world financial ecosystem.
Gotcha.
And so, I did the deep dive on XRP, and the company Ripple, and I've just been investing and accumulating since then.
Got you. So, few things to piggyback off a few things, different stuff, because there's a lot of information that
Yeah,
you.
I know I gave you an earful there.
You gave us an ebook, gave us an ebook, but that's okay. People need to know, about these things. A lot of people are looking to, get into, some investments, and
Yeah,
they're looking to get more details on just what's really going on behind the scenes. But the funny thing is, it's funny how you say that, the government they be on top of things. So there was like a whole bunch of controversy when they was talking about the IRS and everything. They was trying to, because what happened is, what a lot of the digital money and people that created that, and what they were doing is people was just like getting rid of keeping the government out of their pockets, because I'm like, man, y'all not about to be taxing us, because y'all ain't even helping us do nothing, so you shouldn't even be taxing us. So, and then they looked at it like, all right, well, we should invest into it because it's something that's the next thing, hottest thing smoking, and go back to to try to kill some of the inflation. A lot of people don't know, inflation and all this debt and this money printing by the Federal Reserve. This all started in 1971.
Yeah, it
It
put us in
started,
this mess we're in.
yeah. So ever since they took the dollar off the gold
Off the
standard,
gold standard. Yep.
and
Yep.
Richard Nixon did that, it kind of threw everything off, because you can just basically, it's called, I said this on a couple of my other lives, it's called
Yeah.
fiat money. So what fiat money is, it's invisible currency. It's just money that doesn't exist. So for example, like when you have a country that's like a commonwealth, or you have a country that is backed by resources, it's a certain amount of currency that's in the
Yeah.
market that can be in circulation at one time. So with fiat currency, it's just that we ran out of money. We gonna just go to the
There's some
bank and
more.
print
Yeah.
some more. We just gonna
Yep.
keep printing it. Really, what it's doing is creating a bigger problem than really solving it. So that's where Jason is talking about the cryptocurrency coming in, fixing some of the problems that's been going. But this has been going on for about six
Yeah.
decades, so it's going to take some time for that to be fixed in there, and understanding where your financial education, being understanding using how to use money, how to use cryptocurrency, use all different investments
Yeah.
and assets to take your business to the next level. So you're using the debt as a way to fund everything, because there's a difference between good debt
Right.
and bad debt. A lot of people in America use a lot of the bad debt, such as student loans, mortgages, and a few other debts too. So the good debts would be, you taking out loans against, your business. You got life insurance
Yep.
policies, credit cards. Credit cards can be good or bad depending on the
Yeah.
wielder. Meaning you can use the credit cards to use that as investments and pay it back with your investment and build more capital, more assets, more wealth with your
Right.
credit cards if you use
Right.
them the right way. And understanding you can use your credit card to invest into currency, because you don't need to use your own money to do it. You can use
Yep.
somebody else's money. That's the goal, to use somebody else's money to invest, so you can build more wealth, more assets, more money, more capital to do what you need to do. And also to add to what you said about insider trading, all companies do. They've
Yeah.
been doing this since forever. They still do it to this day, from the Nasdaq, the S&P
Yep.
500, Wall Street. They do all of that because everybody, what they do is they look at certain billionaires and millionaires. So whoever's on like the stock, because if you look at the Rockefellers, if you look at Bill Gates, if you look at Donald Trump, the president, you look at who else you got? You look at Warren Buffett, and they all follow each other's, insider trading, because that's
Yeah.
what they do. They say, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna pull out, I'm gonna sell,
Yep.
I'm gonna leave
Yep.
this here, and a lot of people and that's how they follow
Yep.
that blueprint. The difference is when people do it for companies, it does corrupt the company, like you said. But the difference is most of the guys that's on a higher up end, like not an up and coming company, guys that have been doing this since the 70s, the 80s, and stuff, they just keep
Yeah.
quiet about it. Insider trading has been going on. That's been going on
Yeah.
for years, because that's how they regulate the
Yeah.
stock market. That's how they regulate
Yep.
Wall Street. That's how they've been regulating how to know when to buy, sell, and invest, because they be knowing stuff 6 months to a
Oh
year
yeah.
ahead of
Yep.
time. And
Yep.
it seems like it's a shock to direct the general public, but behind closed doors, that's really not a shock. They already knew
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
coming. So, a lot of times when you have, just our economy, just for another example, for our economy, if you look at our economy, these guys already know when the recession is going to happen.
Oh
They
yeah.
know when it's going to be inflation. They don't know when it's going to be stagflation or
Right.
deflation. Um, they know when all that stuff is going to happen. A recession is actually a good thing because it gives you opportunities to build new businesses, invest into new ideas, invest into finding new ways to generate
Yep.
capital. And that's when the most successful people and entrepreneurs
Yeah.
are successful is in that time of crisis, in that time of need. It seems like it's not, but that's when the most brilliant ideas come out because there's a huge problem in our economy. There's problems here, 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 and here, and people that that's most of them are C students,
Yeah.
not A students. The C students are looking for, how can I solve this? What can I do? What idea can I do to make this life
Sure.
easier? And that's where the cryptocurrency and the blockchain comes in because it's solving a problem with capital, being able to digitally invest into this thing, no taxes, getting all this stuff, doing it simultaneously, do it from the
Yep.
comfort of your home, not having a boss, also doing research and finding other traders and y'all getting together, understanding the market. Like you told me about XRP back in 2020. Like when we left the convention center, I remember we talking about this on a private conversation about Ripple and all that other stuff. I fell off of it. I haven't even known that they was in a lawsuit
Yeah.
and all of that. Man, it's funny when you're doing something unique and something different. There's always going to be somebody that's going to have an issue with
Oh
it
yeah.
because it's the same thing. It's the same concept where Uber and Lyft came out. It took some time
Yep.
for it to come out, and once they started expanding, taxis. Taxis is like, oh yeah, I do whatever I want. It's like the big banks. I'm do whatever I want. I don't want to loan nobody. I'm making this hard. I'm like, okay. Then when a new sheriff is in town and they doing this something better, more efficient, they catering to the people. Now they want to try to make all the
Yep.
changes. Now they want
Yeah.
to do this, and now they want to do that. It's just the same thing
Yep.
with this. Now they finding ways. Okay, we can keep, but we can keep the government out of
Right.
our pocket. Y'all ain't
Right.
taxing this because you can't track. What are you
Right.
taxing? You can't really tax nothing because you have no federal regulations over what we're doing because we're moving money so in and out. You moving it so fast to where you can't keep up. Good IRS can't keep up with it. It's the same thing when you have a business and you understanding how to keep your money and assets moving at all times because that money that's moving is constantly making more money and it's adding a service or product that the government is
Yeah.
not having, so they're not able to tax you. But like, so for example, when Rich Dad says like, once your money is always sitting, when your money is always sitting, that's where the taxes and stuff come from. Like for example, like when you have a savings account, it's not the same savings account from like 60, 70 years ago. Your 401ks, your 405ks, that's just money just sitting there being taxed. So when you finally use it, the government taxes you 30% when you
Yeah.
retire. So when you got assets and life insurance, and you got blockchain, you have all these things. These things are not, if they are taxed, they little to
Yeah.
none. When money is always constantly moving, and understanding that when you're doing these with these different industries, and just familiarizing yourself with knowing how to build relationships too. Building relationships is key when it comes to these type of businesses because it just makes sense to work with the team, work with people, and understand where we all share a common goal, and we want to do something different that's going to revolutionize our money. Because be honest with you, we all don't want to have money problems forever because we've been having money problems for a
Right.
while, and now we have solutions to these money problems. We just got to use them, not just the knowledge, but the application of the knowledge to move everything forward. And and I appreciate this conversation because a lot of people they don't see it like that. They'll see it like way after something
Well.
something hits the way because they don't understand the bell curve. Being an early adopter and an
Right.
innovator of like different events like this is, you gotta get in when you fit in. Got to get in early and go through the trials and tribulations, go through the
Yep.
tough times. Not when it, hit momentum, and then when it hit stability, and that's when people really want to invest. But you got to have that 1%
Yep.
mindset to where, okay, if I invest in it, I'm not looking at it what it is now. I'm looking at it what it could
Exactly.
be. Where it's going. Where is it?
Yep.
Where's the vision? The vision is something that you
Yeah.
can't see.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So that's what I wanted to add to the everything
Yeah,
that you were
man, and
saying.
you right about that. And you got to keep in mind too. We live in a culture of you know, I would say, you know, kind of a trendy ad type.
Yep.
Nobody,
Yes.
uh, the average
Nope.
person is not going to be interested in something or give it any
Nope.
type of energy or time unless everybody else is doing it. That's the average person. Now you got some open-minded like people that are like me that see opportunities that may not be so wholesome to other people, and that me with the type of mind that I have, I'm like, let me see what this about. Curious, open-minded, very into new technology and the new things. And yeah, man, that's the type of society we live in. So unfortunately, a lot of people are going to miss out on this wealth opportunity. And as far as XRP, you're right. Right now, with XRP and just all the other assets in the market as a whole, we're going through the bad times right now. This volatility that you see in the market in crypto, and let me add also too, crypto is not this super illegal thing that's against the law anymore. I mean, this market, these assets are being talked about, legalized, and frameworks are being built around them to make them more feasible for the average person. That's happening right now as we speak at the top levels of government. The cryptocurrency has been a conversation in the Senate, in the House since 2020, since I've been researching it. Um, but unfortunately, a lot of people, you're right, a lot of people won't show any interest. A lot of people won't even invest until their cousin come over and say, "Hey, man, you see this XRP? It's up to $50." And at that point, that's when everybody's gonna want to flood in. You didn't want to buy it when it was 50 cents. But now, since everybody else around you is making money and you see it spiked like crazy, now you want to jump into it at $50. You missed the real wealth at 50 cents. You know what I'm saying? So that's the unfortunate thing that I see with people. I've done, I've been as vocal as I feel like I can be about it. A lot of people, are not going to see your vision and not going to look at things the way you look at it, unfortunately. But I've did my share because I am passionate about it, because I feel like, you know, in society we talk about, you know, standing up against, prejudice and the whole racial movement, and Black Lives Matter, and equality for all. But I think what we don't talk enough about is, what about a financial revolution, right? What about the opportunity that we all have to come together as one and invest and then build something that can put us on a platform financially to where we can be heard. You know what I mean? I think that aspect of just that type of movement is overlooked, and especially in our culture, in Black culture, I think we don't we haven't heard enough, or we haven't learned enough, because they're not teaching us this stuff in school. Investing, wealth building, getting in these financial markets, Wall Street, stock market, crypto, whatever it is. This is not taught as a nuance in school, and there's a reason for that. Is because the 1% want us to stay in the middle or lower class, they don't want us to be up here in the 1%. So they're gonna do, and they're gonna tell us everything to stray us away from any type of opportunity that may get us up there where they are. And we fall victim to that, as a culture, I think. And just not being open-minded enough, and just giving these opportunities at least some thought and some interest. So yeah, man, it's definitely interesting that you say that, because I've had the same thoughts and feelings just about people in society, and just where we're going as far as a culture. And not only, you know, and myself included, before 2020, I mean, it took a time of crisis for me to look around and go, man, I need to find other ways of income. I need to, I need to start building wealth for my children. Like this, like if, if something like this can come along and basically shut the world down to where, we're not making money, we're not working, we not, and I was furloughed for a year and a half during COVID. So I totally understand the average person. I wasn't working. So in that, I was getting unemployment, and let's see, unemployment, and I think that was the only well, I had some 401k that I was kind of living off of. I mean, thankfully I had that I had built up. So I was kind of living off that. But, you know, something in me said, I need to start looking for some type of another either income stream or like an investment. So what I was doing was, instead of me getting that unemployment money and just paying my bills and just spending it, I was reinvesting it. So I built this portfolio in assets in cryptocurrency that I have now, and that I've basically been living off of since 2020. Um, and I've managed to build a pretty nice portfolio since, because I've just been buying and accumulating, and I've been catching the market, in these, when everybody else is afraid, like, oh my God, it's red, everything's going down, the ship is sinking type moments. Those moments, I'm like, oh, what can I buy today? You know? And that's also in the world of investing, that's also the type of mindset that you have to have. When everybody else is scared and afraid and think that everything's, just because the market's down or things are trending downwards, or the market's down 40%, that everything's over and everything's going away, and everybody's just totally terrified. That's when I get real greedy and I start investing in this stuff. So uh,
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense, man. So I hope everybody got some information about crypto and how to to look at the market and what to do, and hope this was some educational points from both points of view. So let me ask you this: are you teaching any classes on this? Are you offering any type of um, like tutoring on this? Or how do people reach out to you if they want to
I
get
have, you can,
involved?
if you have questions, I do consultations, but I've just recently decided that my consultations will cost a little bit. And so I'm in the process of setting up kind of a outline of what my consultation services will provide versus the value that you pay. I'm figuring all that out now. But I have, along the way, I've taught close friends of mine. I've guided close friends of mine. I've guided some family members. Um, so no, I haven't. I mean, I haven't really branched out to set up any like big classes or anything like that. But I do consultations. If you're new and you want to just start learning, because I'm still learning. I will tell you that this technology is new, it's vast. There's a lot to learn. I'm still learning myself. That's why I've made it part of my kind of life, kind of my daily routine, and just researching and investing and just poking around is because this market is new to us all, man. I mean, even like I said,
Mhm.
even our government haven't figured this thing out yet. I mean, they're still kind of scratching their heads, going, "Okay, this is a thing, and it's going to happen.
Mhm.
People have figured out about it. People have found out about it. They're investing in it. So how do we build frameworks around this and make it legal and create rules and what you can do and what you can't, what's a commodity, what's not a commodity. The government is still figuring this out. So if you're out there and you don't have any idea and you're new, don't be discouraged. I was the same way. I'm still learning. I'm not an expert. I'm increasing my knowledge as well every day. If there's something that a question you have that I don't immediately have the answer to, I promise you within a day or two, I'll have that answer for you because I like doing this research and kind of digging up this stuff anyway. I'm passionate about it. So if it's something I can't figure out, I will immediately go and start digging and figuring it out. So you can inbox me. If you're not friends of mine, send me a friend request. If you're friends of Terrence and Royal Blossom, just send me a friend request. Reach out. I'm a very friendly social person. I spread love and prosperity to all, man, and I'm passionate about this, and I want people to get involved because I feel like this is finally a financial tool and a financial opportunity that can change the kind of you know the society, you know, top tier 1%, middle class, lower class. I think that this can put a lot of people in different classes and moving up towards that 1%. This is that type of opportunity. So if you open to learn, if you're open to taking a risk, this is not financial advice. Again, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. You invest at your own risk. The market is very volatile. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. It can be up 20% today and be down 70% tomorrow. But just always know that that downturn is just temporary and it's just a buying opportunity. Um, and yeah, man. So yeah, I'm open to questions and consultations, and I can discuss, pricing and what all comes in my consultation packages. Um, when you messages or reach out. So
All right, that sounds good, man. We're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I'm just gonna close it out. We did a great
yes, sir.
job,
Yes,
and
sir.
you dropped some things. You told the people how to find you and all of that. And I'm gonna close with this. You always close your every time you close your mind. You just block out all
Yeah,
opportunities from coming in and going out. So you want to make sure that you keep your mind open, keep your heart open, and you just stay forward and see what the world has to
yeah.
offer for you. With that being said, we're gonna have another phenomenal guest next week, and every week I always say you just don't know which angle that we're coming from. And one of my famous quotes that I'm gonna end this live. Once you discover how unique you are, you begin to change the world around you. Until next Thursday at 7:30, we'll see you. And we appreciate you, Jason, for enlightening us with extreme visions on how to build a vision
Well,
for the
thank you,
future.
Terrence, and thank you for having me, bro. This was fun. Let's do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it soon.